This is Rugby Radio.
Rugby Radio
With Stuart Cameron.
Hello and welcome to the Rugby Roundup on Rugby Radio, taking a look back at today's rugby action on the fourth day of the Premiership season and, of course, the third for the National League teams. We'll be getting reaction from players and coaches throughout the show, but first a rundown of the classified results, starting with the Premiership. Ayr 43, Currie 40, Glasgow Hawks 42, Hawick 10, Heriot's 19, Watsonians 17, Kelso 14, Melrose 8, Selkirk 36, GHA 40. In National 1, Gordonians 0, Edinburgh Accies 50, Jed-Forest 30, Muir 28, Mar 47, Biggar 29, Musselburgh 59, Gala 34, and Stirling County 39, Glasgow Accies 31. In National 2, Dundee 34, Berwick 13. Highland against Kirkcaldy, match postponed. Newton Stewart 19, Fife 12. Peebles 26, Falkirk 29. And Stewart's Melville 7, GHK 27. Well, let's begin with our commentary match today down at Poynter Park. Kelso hosted Melrose. It was a win for Kelso by 14 points to 8 in what you would call a typical Borders derby. And that Melrose hoodoo of not winning at Poynter Park for at least 11 years continues. It was a scrappy affair with just one try from each team. And after the game, Robin Purdy spoke with Melrose's Roan Frostwick and first Kelso captain Dwain Patterson.
You guys made a fast start and then you had a few strong defensive sets which must have been pleasing.
Yeah, no, I think a big focus this week after shipping 41 points away up at Glasgow last week against, it was a good GHA side, but we were really disappointed in our defensive display last weekend, so it was a big focus this week, and Matty's come in and done some really good work on that this week, and to keep Melrose aside to 8 points, I believe, was we're really chuffed with that one.
And there was a lot of huff and puff for the rest of the half without much to show for it. Then Melrose got back on the board. What was the chat at half time?
In the past few weeks after half time, we've come out a bit flat. So our real emphasis was to come out, try get some energy straight away. I think we did. We got down in their half straight away, but just couldn't get any points. So it's definitely work on to try and find that finished product. But no, like when we go back to that defence, I think Melrose were in our half, in our 40 for 20 to 25 minutes, and for them to come away with 3 points was massive. I think we were really happy with that.
And Big Melly is no longer around the place, but you must be absolutely delighted with how his replacement Gregor went today.
100%. Luke Lozzie's come down from Jed, and he's fitting straight away. His defensive work's outstanding. He's a big bloke to carry. So Luke Lozzie's brought in a lot of experience and skill, and long may it continue.
And looking forward to next week, Dwain, Selkirk make the short hop here at Poynter. They've lost again today. You guys will no doubt have that down as a winnable fixture.
Yeah, look, I think on our day we'd like to think we can mix it with the best in the league, and that Selkirk are no mugs. Okay, like the last 2 years they've come to Poynter and won, so we know how much of a challenge that's going to be. We've been in that position. We're fighting for the first win, fighting for any win, so we know how hungry and desperate they're going to be. So it's we've got to back to the drawing board this week, another big week of training, and fire into next weekend.
So Roan, thanks for joining us, thanks for fronting up. You were slow at the blocks again today, same as last week against there. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a set answer right now, but back-to-back weeks of being slow at the block just isn't quite good enough. If you once is a mistake, two is now beginning to be a habit, so that's something we certainly got to address for next week against Currie, isn't it?
And you got back into it after the slow start with a wonderful individual try by Finn Douglas. Did you feel at that point you could kick on from there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we actually got into a bit of a flow there, and momentum started swinging back to our way, so we really needed to capitalise on that. Did we do that as much as we intended? Probably not. So we're going to have to certainly look back and see how we can manage that momentum swing a bit better and utilise our opportunities the best we can.
And what's the chat in the change room just now, just in the immediate aftermath of that?
Oh, look, it's a border derby. At the end of the day, boys are upset, boys are hurting, boys are sore. We're all upset and frustrated, obviously, but credit to Kelso, like they executed their game plan very well. Us, not as much, so we've certainly got to buck up our ideas for Currie next week.
Well, you've just taken the words out of my mouth. Currie at home next week doesn't get it's not getting any easier. What are the main work-ons would you suggest this week?
It's just our conversion rate, I think, is a massive thing. Like we're creating good opportunities, we're getting in good shape, and we just need to finish some tries now and get some points over and find our best way of getting over that line. Our defence focus has been really good. We do keep teams out, which is a positive, so we need to continue with that. But our real focus should just be scoring points now.
Roan Frostwick from Melrose, and before that the co-captain of Kelso, Dwain Patterson. Well, Champions Air were back at Millbrae this afternoon, taking on Currie, trying to retain their 100% record with try bonuses in every game so far. It ended 43-40 to Ayr in a real ding-dong battle, and we can get reaction now from Ayr's head coach Grant Anderson, followed by Currie assistant coach Gregor Hunter.
Pleased with the victory, 43-40. It was almost a bit of you score, we score. And like I'd said in the pre-match comments, two teams with really, really contrasting styles. Just a wee bit clunky at points in terms of our system in attack and in D. Clearly need to work about playing smarter rather than playing harder. But that's for us to look at Tuesday, Thursday. All credit to Currie, they came through the kitchen sink at us. As I said again in pre-match comments, they're 9, outstanding. It makes life very difficult when he pulls their other players into play, and I would say pro level box kicks, so which we dealt with on the whole pretty well, but we have thrown an intercept, which gives them 7 points. Something happened at our maul was going forward, and all of a sudden Ed Hastel has the ball, runs in, scores another 7, and then their 9 puts a box kick in the middle of phase play, takes a horrendous bounce right back into his own arms, and there's 21 points we've just gifted them, which again hugely frustrating. And when a team like Currie have got their tails up with a specific game plan, they're hard to stop when they get on a bit of a roll. All credit to my own boys though. Like I just said, you hand a team like Currie 21 points, how do we respond? Well, we responded by coming straight back at them, and even though everything we did wasn't perfect in terms of attack and D, we had to grind that one out, and we did. The boys rely on each other, they count on each other, and when we train the way we do with that level of intensity and physicality, the boys then apply that on a match day, and I feel like that ultimately is what got us over the line. A really good game of rugby, hellish to watch from my point of view. Good game for the neutral to be at, and we now turn our attention to Watsons and pick apart what we need to, and we'll move forward from there.
Yeah, look, we're a little bit frustrated just now, obviously having a chance to win at the end there, not quite getting over the line. The boys are pretty frustrated. However, I think on reflection we'll be pretty happy. With the 2 points away from home, it's always difficult to go to Ayr and get a result. I think for large parts of that game, we were good in attack. We controlled the field position relatively well, and we put some really good shapes together when we had the ball and scored some lovely tries. And we also had some really good individual performances. I thought Rhys Davis was excellent, and lots of positive impacts in attack and defence. And I thought Alex Harley at 10 controlled the game well as well. So there's lots of little things to work on. I think to concede that many points, we have to look a little bit at where they came from and what we can improve going forward. We've got a difficult game next week away to Melrose, so pleased with the progress we're making. Lots of good stuff, but a few things to work on for next week.
Glasgow Hawks took on Hawick today at Balgray. Hawks looking for their first win of the season after playing well in defeat against some of the big teams in the league. Hawick went to Glasgow after getting their first win of the season 7 days ago. At the whistle, it was Glasgow Hawks 42, Hawick 10, and we can hear from Hawick's Andrew Mitchell and also Shawn Muir. And first, Hawks skipper Paul Cairncross.
Great result for us today. I think we put into place quite a lot of things that we've been building over the last 3 weeks. Obviously, we've had quite a hard start to the season, so it was great to go out and put those pieces of the jigsaw together and put on a performance that we are proud of, and one that gives us a bit of momentum to go into the rest of the league. So really, really happy. I don't think we conceded any points in the second half, and that's something that we take pride in as well. Just shows us that we can do it. Really kick on now. GHA next week, 5:15 kick-off, I think. It's just another test for us to go out and push ourselves further on and start climbing the table and show where we truly need to be. But credit to Hawick for coming through. The first half was a pretty good game to watch from the sidelines. Then the second half, I think we just went up a gear, knew what we had to get done, and did it quite effectively. So really happy for the boys. Yusuf Shaheen is unbelievable. Tom Bantavala as well come on the pitch and just really showed what he's all about. I know he's been out for ages with injury, so it's great to see him get back onto the pitch and really come on and show his colours and how good he is.
tough day at the office. Obviously, first 20 minutes we came out the traps flying. And for the last 60 we were second best everything. The Hawks wanted it more, probably in every area of the game after that. We went at half time, whenever we came out we never fired a shot. So we're going to have a long hard look at ourselves as a squad and as individuals. Try and right a few wrongs at home next week to Heriot, as the fixtures don't get any easier from now.
First half was positive. For the first 25 minutes we were probably the better team and controlled massive areas of the game, and then just before half time they got quite a lucky drive from our mistakes, and going into half time we were fairly positive. We knew we had the conditions second half, but kind of everything that could have went wrong did go wrong in the second half, and they came away with a convincing win. It's very disappointing for us. There's no real excuses. We just need to have a long hard look at ourselves this week in training and get ready for the Heriot game next week, and hopefully get a win in front of our home crowd.
Hawick, Shawn, Muir and Andrew Mitchell there, and also before them Paul Cairncross, a very happy captain of Glasgow Hawks. Moving on to Heriot's against Watsonians, another of our featured matches this afternoon down at Goldenacre. Heriot showed signs last week that they were much better than their bottom position in the table before this game. Final score in this one, Heriot's 19, Watsonians 17. We can hear from Watsonians' Kwagga van Nierkerk and first Heriot's captain Ruairidh Leishman. Both spoke after the game to Hugh Brown.
Ruairidh, that was quite a game, winning in the last few seconds.
It was amazing. It was a tough start to the season. Said to the boys on Thursday, some of the improvements we've made over the last few weeks at training have been outstanding, and we knew we had it in us. And then obviously to be leading most of the game and to let them take the lead at the end, and then us to apply so much pressure and fight back. And still don't know why we made it so difficult for us, scoring in the corner, and we had probably a penalty try advantage, but Callum Jessup, so I think he's 17 straight out of school, to kick that touchline conversion from into the sort of howling wind and rain at 17 to win the game against Watsons is very impressive.
That's a hell of a bit of pressure for a 17-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah, no, he's a hell of a player. He's really quite quiet but really confident, and to step up and take that kick and to slot it like that with 10 seconds to go was amazing.
In the first 20 minutes, you were all over Watsonians. They didn't get out of their own half.
Yeah, first 20 we were really good. We talked about starting well, because the last 2 weeks we started really poorly, giving Ayr a really good head start, gave Currie a 24-0 head start, and then obviously we started well this week. We probably should have taken more from it and scored a couple more points in that first 20-25 minutes, but overall, happy with the start. We let them back into it, but we fought back.
You did, and so did they, to be fair. They were only 12-5 down at the interval, and they scored almost straight after the break. Yeah,
it's one of those ones you talk at half-time about starting well, and then more often than not you don't start well and they score. But a couple of penalties they get in, and they got good players. They got solid players that have a lot of experience, a lot of youngsters like us as well. Quite similar, I think, in terms of the transition from last year to this year for us and them, which is probably why they made for such a exciting game.
The main thing is you've got your first win of the season. That is going to give you a great boost of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a bit of a, Melrose away, Ayr, Currie, quite a tough start, but great boost of confidence to win against Watsonians, and to go into next week. I think it's Hawick away. We'll go in go in firing.
Yeah, devastating. So it's back to the drawing board for us. I think we lost that game because of our own devices, so it's something we can work on and just take it into next week.
Yeah, because for the first 20 minutes you weren't out of your own half and they really were all over you.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest problem at the minute, is we can't get the ball out of our own half, which is a big problem for us. So we need to get down there, put the pressure back on them, but we just keep on applying pressure to ourselves.
Did you think that Heriots would be as strong as they were, particularly in the second half?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at last week as well, against Currie put a few points on them in the first half, and they came back in that second half, and we've always known them as they come back strong in the second half. They're not a team that give up, so we definitely knew it was coming.
Did the weather conditions towards the end play any part?
I think weather conditions wise, it's meant to play in our favour. We're a physical team, we like it tight, we like it close quarters, so but like one of our coaches said, you can't defend for 70 minutes. It's damn wall's going to break somewhere.
What do you say to the boys after a game like this to try and get their spirits back up again for next week?
It's quite a difficult one because our first loss, so it's just get back to the drawing board. Next week is another opportunity. That's a great gift of rugby. Every week is a new opportunity just to express yourself.
Well, it was a good game for neutral supporters to watch, but sadly you were on the wrong end of the final score.
Yeah, definitely. You could hear the stands and everything, which is quite nice. It's always a nice Edinburgh derby, so always physical. Like, we know it's going to be a tight, close game against them, so it was exactly what it was. Just went their way.
In the other game in the Premiership today, Selkirk were trying to prevent GHA from getting the clean sweep of wins over Borders teams at Philippock after GHA had beaten both Melrose and Kelso at home and Hawick away. The score at the end was Selkirk 36, GHA 40. And after the match we heard from GHA captain Dario Ewing and first Selkirk's Callum Anderson.
Yeah, pretty tough game at home. Kind of a game of two halves. In the first half, GHA played in a pretty strong wind, which we were able to kind of take advantage of, building up a 22-point lead, I think it was. Message at half-time was play in the right areas, try and get the next score and try and kind of kill the game. Unfortunately, playing into that same wind, we weren't able to do that, and GHA scored some decent tries and managed to get in front. We nearly pulled it back at the end, kind of banging on the door in their 22, but unfortunately just weren't able to score the winning try. But we'll move on into next week and try and pick up the first win.
I think obviously delighted with the result first and foremost, but to be honest, I think we said in the changing rooms and the huddle after the game that, you know, there's no doubts we got away with one. I think we need to be better, particularly that first half, having shipped 12 points in the first 10 minutes isn't like us at all, and just reflective of a bit of a slow start and our heads not being in it. I think we've spoken in the huddle as well about this team won that game in previous seasons, but there's only so much that we can kind of dine out on that as a positive. I think if we want to compete in this league or make sure that we get results and keep safety, we need to keep progressing week on week, and certainly Hawks next week will be a really tough task, but one that we're looking forward to on a Saturday night.
That was Dario Ewing, before that Callum Anderson. Let's have a look at the Premiership table then. First Ayr, top of the pile, 20 points for them, and of course try bonus in every single one. GHA move up to second place now, they're on 19. Third Currie with 16, fourth Watsonians 15. In fifth place Kelso with 9 points after their win against Melrose today. Sixth is Melrose on 7. Seventh position Glasgow Hawks with 6. Eighth Hawick on 5. Heriot's off the bottom, they've got 5 points as well in ninth, and in 10th place it's Selkirk, still without a win after 4 games. Well, let's turn to National 1 then. Gordonians have had a hard time of it lately with 2 big defeats in their first 2 matches, and life in National 1 didn't come any easier for them today with the visit of unbeaten league leaders Edinburgh Accies. Final score 50-0 to Accies. Reaction from captain of Accies, Jamie Looms, but first Gordonian skipper Finlay Lennox.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a hard job today. Accies top of the league, so it's always going to be a massive test, and unfortunately we were dominated in the scrum, and Accies were able to pin us in the corners with kicks and utilise their maul, which we weren't able to defend very well today. So yeah, we just got to look on to next week, get back to training Tuesday and push on.
It's another good performance for us away from home. That's sort of 2 pretty tough away days on the bounce, and we've come away with 5 points from both of them and haven't conceded, so the boys are really happy with that. And we talked all week about fronting up again in defence and bringing that mentality, and I think everyone's really pleased that we've done that again, another tricky away day. And once we got up to the other end of the field, took our chances more often than not. Probably still left a few out there, but pretty pleased with how the boys have come away from home again and got another big win. And obviously, it's some decent momentum to take into next week for a big game that we're all looking forward to.
Jed-Forest took on Muir this afternoon at Riverside Park. The score in this one was 30 points to 28 to Jed-Forest. We can hear from their captain, Gary Young.
Back down at Riverside today. There's always going to be another big encounter, especially with Muir having such a strong start to the season. They came really hard at us in the first 10 minutes, which we managed to sort of weather the storm. Which I was really chuffed with the guys. We made a big emphasis this week on starting strong and getting our foothold in the game early, which was nice. Yeah, and again, just sort of the tail of the last 2 weeks as well. Went into half time, there was nothing in it. Second half, we managed to get our tails up, get a bit of momentum, and we got a really nice sort of full length try off Mark Glenn. and Lewis Young making a break up the wing. And yeah, so this week we made a big emphasis on when we get momentum, we need to keep it moving and not letting it go away from us, and keeping the scoreboard ticking over, and that's what the guys done today. And Muir, credit to them, they came back fighting in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, brought us right back within 2 points. But yeah, look, first win for us this season. Boys are really chuffed. We've got another big week ahead to try and keep on top of this and keep momentum flowing.
From a Muir point of view, Jack Hamilton.
Yeah, it was a funny old game this afternoon. I think both teams will probably go away being frustrated with how each other played. It was sort of swings of momentum the whole time rather than just one team dominating. So yeah, pretty frustrated after that. I think the massive turning point was Jed sort of scoring just before the end of the first half. Sort of changed the team talk in the change rooms. You know, went from being 2 tries up in control to sort of being a 2 or 3 point game. So I think that was a massive momentum swing in their favour. And then second half, we just didn't execute at all. We were just putting ourselves under so much pressure just by giving away cheap, easy penalties. I think I'd love to know the stat on how many times we're offside at the middle of the park, which is just too easy for any team to take control over that. So yeah, pretty frustrated after the result. Can't credit the boys enough. I think we had 5 or 7 minutes to play and we scored 2 converted tries. Gutted there wasn't more time to sort of have another go and try and win the game, but yeah, to come away with 2 points after how we played that second half, cannot credit the boys enough. So yeah, back training on Tuesday and we'll try and build from the last couple of weeks.
Mar versus Biggar was always going to be a feisty affair. Mar have been scoring plenty of points lately, but conceding a lot as well. Biggar were looking for a second win of their campaign and upset Mar's unbeaten start to the season. Well, it ended with another huge score, 47 points to 29 in favour of Mar. And let's hear the viewpoint of both Biggar captain Ross Jackson and first Mar's David Andrew.
Today makes it 3 wins out of 3 bonus points secured for us. Played into the wind in the first half, secured the bonus point by half time. Some great attacking rugby. For the back line especially, special mention to Ewing against his former club. Some good breaks for us. Second half, similar story to last weekend. Slipped off a few tackles, plenty of work-ons in defence. Credit to Biggar though, they were good value for their try bonus point, made us work for it. Special mention to a couple of boys on debut, especially Fosa, scored a try for us at a crucial time, just when Biggar were getting back into the game, when we were down to 13 men. And then set up a try at the end for us. Pretty pleased with the result. We look forward to next week, a tougher test away to Muir. But plenty of work-ons for us this week, but happy with where we are after 3 games.
We talked about targeting the first 20 minutes, but in all honesty, we never really left the changing rooms. Pretty disappointing. We had the wind behind us, probably didn't kick as accurately as what we'd like. Discipline cost us a wee bit as well, and we definitely coughed up way too much ball way too easily. Plenty to work on. Full credit to Mar. I thought they had some big ball carrying forwards, and for a young back line that they talk about, I thought they were pretty skillful and played pretty well.
Well, next up in our National 1 Roundup, Musselburgh versus Gala at Stony Hill. Gala had a bad time of it 7 days ago at Netherdale against Stirling County, and all eyes were on the Maroons to see how they'd fare this week on the road. The final score was Musselburgh 59, Gala 34. We haven't heard anything from Musselburgh, but we can hear from Gala's captain, Craig Keddy.
We started off well, went 2 tries up, attacking was a lot more aggressive and accurate than it's been in the last few weeks. I think we kind of switched off after that. You know, we gave away a few tries, kind of combining errors, which let them back into the game, and eventually they kind of pulled away from us. Definitely some work-ons to take away from today. Defensively, we still need to be a lot stronger. Too many high tackles, discipline, giving away too many penalties, letting you're taking ourselves out of the game essentially, not enough possession. So definitely got some work-ons for next week. Tuesday, Thursday is going to be big for us heading into Jedburgh.
Well, we all know what happened last weekend when Stirling County went to Netherdale. This week they returned to Bridgehall, looking to back that big win up with a win at home against a very useful Glasgow Accies team. It was Stirling who came out on top in a thriller, 39 points to 31. We can get reaction from Accies skipper Scott Roger.
Not the result we wanted, but a much better performance from the boys. That's much more like us. Some really good moments in the game for us. really good moments in attack. Defence was pretty solid as well. There wasn't much between the teams. Just a couple of moments in that second half where they put a little bit of pressure on us, especially a couple of times in the set piece, and a couple of missed tackles just let them go over the line for a couple of cheap tries. But as I say, it was a much better performance, something that we can definitely build upon going into the Musselburgh game next week and the games after that. So a little bit disappointing that we couldn't convert at half time. We were quite happy with 17-12. We'd played into the wind in the first half, which we'd hoped to do. So yeah, we'd hope to kick on in that second half, but early in the second half we gave away a couple of soft tries and ultimately we just didn't quite recover it from there. Fair play to Stirling, they took their chances when they got them. As I say, the performance was much better and something that we can really build upon moving into next week. So good to be back playing how we feel we should be playing, because we really let ourselves down last week. So take that into Musselburgh next week.
So two teams unbeaten in National 1 at the moment. Edinburgh Accies at the top of the pile, 15 points for them and a points difference of 120, which is very impressive. Mar in second place, they've got a points difference of 67, but they have all 15 points. Stirling County in third on 14. Fourth, it's Musselburgh, who have 11 points. In fifth, Boroughmuir on 8. Glasgow Accies in sixth place with 7. Biggar also with 7 points. They're in seventh. In eighth, it's Jed-Forest with 6 points, and Gordonians have 1 point in ninth. Gala also getting off the mark, Henry, today with 1 point. They're in 10th position. Well, let's move on to National 2 then, and Berwick took the long trip to Dundee this afternoon, hoping to get their first win of the season. The match ended 34-13 to Dundee. Let's get the thoughts of Dundee's Cammy Fraser.
Good result today for Dundee against Berwick, picking up 5 points, despite being down to 14 men for 66.5 minutes for the game and picking up a couple of yellow cards throughout the match. Can't fault the boys for the effort they put in to make up for the man down. We knew exactly what we need to do from last week's defeat against Dumel, especially around the breakdown area, which we tidied up a lot. It's a lot of positives come from this game, but we did leave a couple of tries out there, and we'll rewatch the game and focus on the areas of improvement. But fair play to Berwick coming up. Long bus journey. They stuck in the game, especially around the last period of the match. Got to try and near the end, but from our boys, you could see our boys tiring a bit. But big credit to our boys sticking in for the 80 minutes, and we'll look forward to next week against UHK.
The match between Highland and Kirkcaldy that everybody was looking forward to was postponed because Kirkcaldy, there was an issue with the bus company, so the trip wasn't made. That game will be played in the future. At Bladnoch Park, Newton Stewart played host to Howe Fife, the newcomers in the division, and they won by 19 points to 12. We can hear from Newton Stewart skipper Tam MacDonald.
Good game today down at Bladnoch Park, a fairly physical affair with both teams with some really strong defence. But Newton Stewart come on top, a lot of good play in the forwards, dominant in the scrums. Howe were fairly dominant in the line-outs. But yeah, another good win down at home, hopefully to keep pushing next week away to Falkirk.
Plenty of people were looking at Peebles versus Falkirk with a great deal of interest today, especially with the return of Finn Russell's brothers Archie and Harry for Falkirk, and Peebles still without a win. Falkirk blowing a big lead last week to lose at home to Highland. So both clubs up for this one, and it was Falkirk who came out the right side of the scoreboard after trailing for large periods of the game. They won 29 points to 26, and we can hear from both teams now. Falkirk's captain Callum Hunter and first Peebles leader James Dow.
Obviously, we welcomed Falkirk to the gates today. Unfortunately, Peebles' point of view, very disappointing. Our third loss now. Falkirk have stolen it in the last play of the game. They got over the line. So massively disappointing again. I mean, this game completely different to our previous two. Felt like we were really in control. We've been working really hard on new systems at the club, and it really felt like it was all coming together today into that final 10 minutes, and we've lost our discipline, really let Falkirk back in the game. All credit to them, they've absolutely stuck it out, and when it mattered in those final 10 minutes, they just had more to give. So another huge week at training for us, and kick on to next week.
Really competitive game. We were behind for most of it, got on the wrong side of the ref, to be fair to Peebles.
They had a good structure, they were running the game really, really well. Second half we rallied a wee bit more, got the ref back on side. Last 20 minutes we really came into our own. Really, really big shift from the lad, the mentality was absolutely class. And then to get a try in the last minute of the game, to get a bonus point win down here is fantastic. So overall, really, really positive stuff from us.
Well, in the final game in National 2 today at Inverleith, it was Stewart's Melville taking on GHK, two teams who know each other very, very well indeed, and it was expected to be a tight encounter. In the end, GHK got over the line by 27 points to 7. And let's have a look at that National 2 table. GHK are the new leaders. They've got 14 points. Falkirk in second with 11. Highland, who didn't play today, of course, third with 10 points. Dundee with 10 points, they're in fourth. Fifth, Newton Stewart on 9. Howard-Fife 6th with 7. Kirkcaldy 7th with 6 points and of course didn't play today. Stewart's Melville in 8th position on 5. Peebles in 9th with 4. And Berwick in 10th place still without any points. So that's it for this week on Rugby Roundup. Don't forget our Scottish Club Rugby podcast, which is available at rugbyradio.co.uk and on our social media channels as well. That's online every Friday morning throughout the season. Next Saturday we're at Poynter Park again for full commentary of Kelso v Selkirk in the Premiership. Also we'll have reporters round the grounds at Marside, the Green Yards and Netherdale, so plenty to look forward to next week. And we also have the launch of our Player of the Match tie-up with Oak and Black, who've come on board with us to present a trophy to the best player on the park, which next week will be chosen by our commentary team of David Ferguson and Scott Tomlinson. Do join us again for that at 2:30 on Saturday, but for now, from me, Stuart Cameron and the team, bye for now.